Welcome, everybody. It's the Monday live show. Dave is back. Amber is back. Matt Kemp is here. I can't say he's back. I don't know if he's been on the live show or not. But we like Matt.
At some point in June, I think it was.
What's up?
I was here after like the New York race. I think it was live by then.
I don't remember. Well, we've got a bevy of topics to go over today, and I'm going to give you a choice. Well, I'm going to give Dave the choice.
All right.
It's going to have to be a vote, a 2 out of 3 vote. We can start with A, Ugly Dave's first time reffing. B, Matt takes longer to do a Deca strong than a Deca mile.
I like that one.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I'm voting for B here too. I was actually very curious about this on Saturday when I saw your post. I was like, yeah.
Okay, we'll do that first. I think it'll help build the audience too, because everyone wants to hear about Dave's exciting first time reffing and Jack not knowing how to count, and apparently nobody knowing how to count.
I thought if anybody, Jack would know how to count. He's like the analytics stats guy.
All right, so I knew deep down that all the numbers Dave was giving me wasn't really realistic. I knew that I would be slower than that, but I had no idea what I was in store for. I just knew I was going to take it as easy as I could. And it's very hard when people are cheering you on and encouraging you to go even slower than you're already really going. Okay. Because my whole thing is don't overheat. Don't have that thing happen to your heart where your chest hurts, and don't blow up. Right. So I didn't even put my lunges on that video because they were so slow. I was embarrassed because I was just like really slow, right? Nobody, and they were just encouraging me, right? Then we go to, I swear I should know the order by now, but I don't. What's second?
Rower. Yeah.
Rower. Super slow. And they're like, hey, try to do whatever. And I'm like, I'm not even going to acknowledge it. I know that I've got to make it through all 10 of these fucking stations, right? The next is sit-ups, right?
No, box, but good and close.
Yeah.
Box, super slow, right? Nice and easy. Okay. Then sit-ups.
Yeah.
Sit-ups you kind of can't not do fast. Like those are kind of like those are like the easiest thing in there, right? Then the rower. Then the ski erg, right?
Yeah.
You froze. Then the ski erg, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dave smiling frozen. I don't know the Hyrox zones either, and there's only 8 of those. And this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? This is where I know, even before the thing that happened to my heart, after, I got really fucked up on the rower. I was, in serious pain the last time I did a Deca mile because I came off the rower, and I was like, ouch! So I'm going super easy. And they're like, hey, come on, go faster, whatever. And I'm like, nope. So then I go to farmer's carry.
Yes. 2 in a row now. 2 in a row, sort of.
Less options.
At the farmer's carry, I'm like that's one that I think I can do pretty well, right? It's the one that I actually practice at home, with heavy weights. And she said, put them down after. She said, take a break after this one. And I didn't. And I think that was my fatal flaw because I didn't put them down. I made it, I think, 3.5 before I put. So, yeah, 3.5, put it down, picked it up, did the last one, got on the bike, and my entire body shut down. That was it. And so they were like, just pedal. And I was like, nope. And I laid down. So that was the other thing too, was you said don't take breaks, right? And so I did that. Even on the ski erg, it was breathe, 2, 3. Okay.
It sounds like you were doing very well up until
I wish I started my watch and knew my time, because I would have been longer than what you said, Dave, but I was fine. I was fine. And then everything my entire body shut down. And I just laid there. And I was like, all right, well, here we are again. And it's embarrassing because there's not that many people at the gym, but they're all looking at me. You know what I mean?
Is
so So then I get on the stupid thing. Okay. Then I get on the bike, and I don't know how long it took me. Forever. Right.
Seems like it anyways when you're on it.
And then it's dead ball time. Right. So I think I got 10 of those, and I think I had to lay down again. Because I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to not finish, right? At this point, no matter how long it takes me. And in my mind, I'm like, Matt, all you got to do is get through these fucking last 10 dead balls, and then you can do burpees, and you're done. Okay? So that was in my head for a good 30 seconds to a minute. And then it was like, I walked over, and they were like pointing to the sled. And I looked up at the woman, and she said, do you want some calories? And in my mind, I heard like food. And I thought chewing would be hard, so I wanted to say no, but then I knew I needed calories. So I said yes. And she later said, yeah, your eyes were like rolling in the back of your head. So yeah, dude, I have an awful lot of work to do. The fact that I hadn't worked out since like 2 months didn't help. But I should have taken that break, because something happens to me when I like go over a certain threshold of redline-ish that because listen, just being tired, trust me, I can deal with that.
Yeah. So here's what jumps out at me right away. Number one, I told you to stop 2.5 after 2.5.
I know you did. I know you did.
But that's neither here nor there. Honestly, what this sounds like to me is more of a mental thing, almost bordering on a panic attack.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Because the paces you're going, and you've run 60 miles, you've done 5Ks. I know your 5K is not quick, but it's sub 30 minutes.
I know how to suffer a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. This to me sounds like you get to a certain point and you have a panic attack and you shut down. Because if you were okay coming on the bike, once you got on the bike, like your farmer's care, from what you said, it sounded like the farmer's care is the only spot you exerted yourself really at all.
Well, I mean, it is difficult. I mean, you got to remember that a 55-pound ram on one shoulder, like, it is work.
Oh yeah, no, you
Amber, you carry like 22 pounds. You can't say anything.
33 actually, which is like a large fraction of my body weight. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's probably percentage-wise, probably more.
It's not like it's nothing, but yeah, I was keeping it.
Yeah,
all in line.
It sounds like you were doing everything pretty much as you're supposed to. Yes, maybe you weren't hitting the numbers I said, but you were doing what you were supposed to. If anything, you were playing it safe, which is even better.
Yeah, and extremely safe.
But when you get to the bike there, let's be honest, the bike you could probably do in 5 minutes at a walking pace, right? And just like literally at the same pace as if you were just walking down the street, you'll probably get through in about, I would say 5 minutes. You think that's about right, Amber?
I don't know. It took me,
yeah,
I think it took me more than 10. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
But you almost deliberately have to go slower than walking to make it go that long.
Right.
Anyway, so my point is, it sounds more like a panic attack. And then if you could come off and do 10 dead ball overs and have the
I did 7 at first. I don't remember, but like those
multiple dead ball overs, but then not just have to like catch your breath, but like literally lie down. And that's
I mean, he did what we've all wanted to do, is just have after. I mean, we all want to do that.
You were enjoying the Kevin Gregory relay recovery method of lying down on your back and waiting for your teammate to get there. No, I think honestly, it sounds like a mental panic, like a panic attack thing. I think it's, and I mean, I'm not trying to be insulting. I think it's in your head.
No, I think you're right, and I really do want to do it again, like pretty soon, because I do think had I just put those, because again, everything else was super easy. You know what I mean? Not easy, but like I was within I was fine. The whole goal was just put a time down. Like just put a time down that you can beat next time. And obviously this one.
You did that.
Right. But certainly a lot more than I thought. I mean, it was like 40 something minutes. Like, I don't even like, they wrote it on the piece of paper. Apparently you get an email, but I didn't get it. But I think Heather and I were talking afterwards, and she similarly said it's mental. And she also said, because, you know, I do my little Deca Deca workout, and she said, I think you need to practice without the run, because the run is the recovery. Like, you need to do like little AMRAPs and try that a few times. And I'm like, oh, you're probably right.
I think Matt and Amber might agree with this. I think you should do each zone, like do one zone, video it, and then rest for like 5 minutes. Do another zone, video it, rest for 5 minutes, and then you can see what you can do, and you can prove to yourself, okay, this is what I'm capable of. Now I dial it back, and then go through it, and then you will actually physically be seeing yourself do it.
Right.
And as a visualization, you'd be like, okay, look at me. I did that. I can do that, which means the day of the event, I just am doing another workout, and away I go.
Right.
Yeah, I think part of it is like one of the things, like you do in some workouts where you do like I did a Hyrox strong this weekend, which went interestingly for me. Did it twice. But it was the part of the benefit of the workout I did was that I did it somewhat like fatigued. So that at some point you kind of know exactly like the worst. If I go to a Hyrox and I'm having my worst day ever, this is what I should be able to do. And it just gives you that kind of confidence, even though like obviously you're hoping to do well at a race. It kind of gives you that confidence of like, okay, if I do a run and then do my Hyrox stations or my Deca stations, it gave me the confidence. I'm like, okay, if I go to a race, I know that this should be the worst I can do. And this at least gives me the confidence of where I can start pacing on, like, at least especially like the rower or the skier, things like that. I like Dave's idea. Like, I think the visualization part of it's huge for you. And I think also just like, I wonder also like with everything you had with the heart stuff, I wonder if that got into your head going onto the bike, because the bike is kind of like where we say like, oh, the bike is the first one where you can really jack your heart rate up. I wonder if that just like scared you, or if that just got to you for a second, like, and maybe just kind of put you in a spot of like, shit, maybe this is gonna be where I tip, because it was going so well. Because I think we've all been in that position in a race where everything's going well and you're like kind of waiting for it to fall off the edge, and it doesn't, or it does. But maybe you got to that point and then kind of maybe mentally put yourself over the edge as opposed to as much physically.
Well, one of the things that I've talked about from the first Hyrox I did was like, yeah, it's one thing to suffer like in an ultra, right? Because you can walk and then you can start jogging and then whatever. But it's like I've always said, you can't slow jog a sled, right? You can't slow jog a fucking med ball. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you can pause between each one, but it takes 100% of your body to get it over you, right? And so it's a very different, like, oh, well, I'm suffering. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just a whole different thing that I have not mastered yet, because I've done all those things you said, overnight races, all that stuff.
Yeah. And
I've conquered those, so to speak, but I have yet to learn how to push through this other thing. And it's and again, I didn't do myself any favors. I haven't exercised in 2 months. So like a few slow jogs, and it's like that doesn't help. The three people on this call are very fit, right? Just because you're not fucking Meg Jacoby, just because you're not Meg Jacoby and Ronco, like, you guys do this stuff a lot. So I'm coming from not doing it a lot, but I still am better than, I'm better than my record, as they say, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. There's no doubt. That's why I'm sure it's mental. It's like I said, verging on a panic attack.
Well, and simulating in the gym too will help you like embrace that suffer a little bit, and then know you can push through it too. So we do a lot of simulations at our gym just to get used to the suffering a little bit, and like just be okay with like, okay, it's only going to hurt a little longer, and then you start to learn that it's only going to hurt a little longer. I know that sounds twisted, but that's what I say to myself a lot of the time. So that's how I talk myself through it. Yeah, but that's because I've done it enough to know it's only going to hurt a little longer.
Yeah, and I appreciate Rye commented on here from the other side of the room. Maybe he would do better without people encouraging him. And I'm somebody that does do well with encouragement. Like, some people say, I want someone to like yell at me, like they do well with the militant kind. I don't. I'm good with like more love, like, dude, you can do it, like that. So yeah, they weren't harming me necessarily. They just saw a person, in their mind, maybe at 80%. So they thought they could push me a little bit far. But again, I was fine with it. I was like, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. But all right, enough about me. I've got work to do. Dave had a big job this weekend. We were extremely excited to learn about it. And I want to talk a lot about how it went before the Jack stuff. I saw a video of you instructing the people. So why don't you just kind of take us through the morning, like the plan and how that went? And then we'll get to the Jack stuff later.
So first off, like the big thing, and I want to make sure I say this before I go any further, is one of the worries I had going in was that like the Deca staff is like a very tight knit group of people, and they really, they've worked together for a while, and I'm like this outsider who is coming in there to essentially have a lot of influence on their beloved race. And so my worry is, okay, how's that going to go over and everything? And all I can say was that every one of them to a T treated me absolutely fantastically and did nothing but help me. And I was just blown away with how cool it was. So I just want to make sure I got that out there first. Yeah. So the plan go in, get the judges, the volunteers, the judges, I got about 30 minutes to essentially, and not just myself, but me, Yancey, Nelson, where we got like 30 minutes to instruct them on how we want the stations called, on how we want movements called, assess who we have, and assess where to put them in about 30 minutes. So you have to walk through every station. It's a lot in a little bit of time. So we did that. That's step one. Then, and the first wave is elite men. So I go over and and this was definitive. This was like a deal breaker. I wanted to do this, and I wanted to go and tell them, this is what's going to be, this is what's expected. This is what will be accepted, and this is what will not be tolerated. And we went through it and we did it, and the guys were incredibly accepting. They were great. They were all good. And for the most part, like,
wait a minute, you're talking about, you've talked to the volunteers. Now you're talking to the elite men at the start line.
Elite athletes. Yeah. Like, and that's actually all on the live stream. You can see me having the pre-race brief with them. And we actually held up the start to do it, to make sure that they're all dialed in.
Worth it.
And and everything went really well. There was a lot of great judging, a lot of great work. The athletes, there was some no reps handed out, and the athletes jumped on board immediately. And I think the fact that we did that pre-race briefing showed them what was expected, and for the most part, they were spot on with it. The athletes didn't need much beyond that, because they were like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what it's going to be. We're on board. We're ready to go. This is what they wanted as athletes. They wanted the consistency they wanted. So that's what we delivered. And everything went really well. We had good judging, everything went well. And then there was, honestly, I didn't have any complaints about how things went until obviously the Bauer gate.
So my question, at one point, I saw Yancey, because I didn't watch the live feed until after, and I kind of fast forwarded it, or on the Deca videos, I did see Yancey in there with you. Yep. And I didn't know if he was judging, if he was just talking to you. So what was he doing while you had that job?
Well, it's the same thing, right? You're trying. So both Yancey and Nelson were in there too, and some of the other.
So they were judging. They were judging.
No, they're helping. They're essentially helping to try to make sure things go well. So make sure that there is a judge. Like, there's a lot of wrangling you have to do, because you don't have, 100 judges where you can have 10 at each station, right? You have to kind of maneuver them around a bit and get them around and make sure. I mean, these judges are volunteers. Some of them, well, I'll be quite honest, not many of them had a lot of experience going into this. So you have to try to wrangle them and make sure that you're using everybody's strengths for where you can. And if someone's a little more tentative, then maybe you try to keep them away from a position where they're going to have a bigger effect on the outcome of the race. So yeah, there's a lot of wrangling involved. There's a lot of making sure equipment's functioning properly. There's a lot of making sure that equipment is where it needs to be. So yeah, it's a lot to be done. So that's what they're doing. Everybody's kind of working together in that form.
So were you moving? Was for the elite wave? Were they moving from zone to zone with the
officials?
Racers? Yeah.
To a certain extent, yes. But then there's a second wave coming after. So you have the first realm of judges probably go through the first 4 zones and then head back for the next wave. And then another couple of judges are handling like your skier and your farmer's carry, where you don't need as many people, and bike. And then we have the other judges at the end that are coming back from there and working their way forward. So yeah, you're filling in where you can. So they are moving around. There's a lot of moving parts.
All right. Before we get to the Jack stuff, Matt or Amber, do you have any questions so far or observations?
No, I think like Dave said, just kind of setting out the expectations at the start line, just then the athletes know what's happening and everybody's on the same page. And I think that's what everybody's been wanting. So I'm happy to hear that it worked. Do
you think, I've been to, I don't know, 3 or 4 events. They all run together. It's so hard to remember sometimes. But do you think it made a difference possibly also because you were a new voice and like they kind of hear Yancey all the time? So if Yancey gives that speech normally, they just kind of are kind of zoning it out the same way elite athletes zone out the Aru speech at the beginning. Like people will announcements be made, but people aren't listening because they're just in their own whatever.
I think, yeah, a new voice does help. The fact that I'm not near as nice as Yancey helps. Well, I mean, it's just, yeah, basically, like I get a reputation for this, right? I've been calling this stuff out. So people know, like, I'll use Stephanie Hillman as an example because she gave me the best compliment of the weekend. She's like, I know my reps are good, but I came here today scared shitless.
All right. Well, Alpha Granddad, a.k.a. Brian the Ginger, said, Dave killed and almost beat me down with his clip. Very strict when it comes to ram burpees. Ha ha.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I literally carried the book so I could throw it at people.
What did you carry?
The rule book so I could throw it at people when I needed to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can get you like a meter stick. So you can just like.
There you go. Yeah.
No rat.
So, but and here's the thing. When I said that, it did seem like it worked. I'll ask you this.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the issue with Jack. Do you hear anybody complaining about bad reps?
No, I was going to say it's interesting that, it seems like from everything I've heard from the weekend, it sounds like where everyone complains about lunges and burpees in general, that seemed to be cleaned up. And now it's like this random thing on the sled, right? Like, and it's like, so it seems like there's obviously got improved. And anytime you improve, then, who knows? That might have happened somewhere else and we just didn't know. But since everyone was so focused on the 2 other areas now, it's always like a whack-a-mole. Like you're going to knock down 5, something else is going to come up. And but it sounds like there was definitely improvement made.
Well, and I think the sled or tank thing human error is a real thing. Like that was probably just an honest miscount, I would imagine, because there's really no other way you can like mess up the tank. So I think that was probably just an honest mistake, but that's going to happen in every race at some point. Like that's just reality of life,
Yeah, I remember judging once I volunteered Hyrox sled pole. And this one doubles team, the only way they did 3 reps out of the 4. They went there, back, and there, but they were convinced they did 4. Like, no, we started down there because the sled wasn't around. And I was like, and then like they ran off, and I was like, there's no way. Like in my head, they were so convinced that they did it right that like they just believe they did it right. And I was like, there's no way. Like you couldn't have come into the station and ran to that side to find a sled, as opposed to right. But I didn't have like definitive proof, right? So we didn't DQ them. We didn't decide not to because we don't know. Maybe the other group left before them and it was very busy. Maybe that was the only sled available. But like you said, like sometimes like human error does happen. Like they might have really believed they did 4. They had a whole system around how they had their teammates switch off. But yeah, like.
And at that point in the race too, like the athletes, like your race brain is real at that point in the race. And there's been a few times where they're like, that's 4. And I'm like, are you sure? Like it felt like 6, like, because you're so fatigued at that point, but that's where you trust the judge at that point. You just go with what the judge says. And if the judge told me to go, I'm not going to second guess it. I'm going to go. Right.
Yeah. I think that happened on my dead ball overs where I thought I was at 12 and I'm like, how many was that? He was like 8. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'll use an example with Rye. We were at one of Amber's events and Rye actually did an extra tank. And it's just, it happens. Like these things happen. And it doesn't mean the judges are bad or this or that. It's just, you know what? They are literally counting thousands of reps through the day. And sometimes you miss one, or you lose track or you get it is not easy. And
so always going to be a potential for human error. And it's like, but that's, I think kind of.
Well, I talked to Jack a little bit today before he got on his flight back. And they said when they were looking at the rule, there was something about like malicious intent or not. And to me, it doesn't matter. Even if he did do it on purpose, when one spots the error, our whole conversation, Dave, last week, the week before was, we missed it. We'll do better next time. Not here's a random video. Let's punish somebody like for what we did wrong. So let's hear it from you. When did you realize it? Who came up to you first? And then what was the discussion amongst the referees?
So the realization was well after the race. I think it was
after the award. what I understand.
The awards, yeah, after the awards. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it was after the awards. So I'm not even sure who the first person was, but 3 different people kind of made me aware of it. One was Jack, one was Yancey, and one was Dylan Scott. Now I don't know who went through what or who what was where. And in Jack's case, Jack was more somebody said this, and so off we went. But so I don't know who first came to me. That my immediate reaction or immediate thought of how to handle the situation was what we ended up doing in the end. Now, it didn't just go, this is what we're doing, and off we went. There was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of input from different staff members and whatnot. And we discussed all different angles of different things to be done and different things, because I didn't want the decision that I make to just be, well, Dave went with this and this is it and we're gone. It's a team and you need everybody's opinion, because you might not see everything. You might not be able to, you may miss things. So yeah, it was a collaboration and we all talked, but ultimately, yeah, it did fall on my shoulders, right? I mean, that's what I'm there to do. And I have to make that call because I'm the one who's going to wear it. So my call, what ended up being my initial instinct, which is that the judge's call on the floor stands. I'm not using video replay for quality or quantity of reps. And that's it. It sucks. It's terrible. It's not something that made me happy. It put a black mark on what I think was otherwise a really spectacular debut. But I can't go back on what I said beforehand. I can't go back on what I told the athletes beforehand and what their expectations would be, because I also was giving the expectations of what to expect from me. So I need to do that. I need to live up to that. And it's hard for me to just say, yep, I fucked up. That's on me. But someone else doesn't pay the price for my mistake. So I take it. That was a mistake on our behalf, something we should have caught. Regardless, I wasn't the one counting, but we should have caught it. It didn't get caught. And now the situation is what it is, but I'm not going to go back and try to change history. The race was what it was. The outcome was what it was. Jack won. Jack deserved to win. That's a side note anyway. But yeah, so the call stands. Call on the field stands. Judge's call stands. I will not be implementing a penalty. There will be no change. And we'll move forward and do everything we can to keep improving and make sure, Yancey's favorite phrase, fail forward, make sure that it doesn't happen again. And will there be more mistakes? Absolutely. Matt went for a walk.
I thought he got frozen there, but sure.
Yeah. So you never know. Sometimes he's just pretending. So yeah, that's it. And I mean, that was my initial thought, and that's what we went with. But there was a lot of discussion involved in it. And
but I think that's the right decision, because that's the thing. You can always just resort back to that. I mean, unless it's like a safety, something, you can't just keep pulling videos left, right, and center for like just every little nitpick that's out there, because I mean, so many things, it's live streamed, like there's so many eyes. But yeah, I think it was the right call. Like, the judge's call stands, and I think that's all you can do moving forward in zones like that, where it's really not a lot of technicalities. There's not a lot of like movement standards, like that. I just don't see what else you guys could have done anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because I think part of what I was thinking on it, what Dave mentioned at the beginning, what people expect of you, like I feel like I umpire a lot of baseball and things of that sort. And like, I remember one time telling people, like, it's like a contract, right? You're making a contract with the athletes or with the coaches that this is what the rules are. It's my job to enforce them. And if I miss something during the game, I'm not going to come back and then say, well, actually, back in the third inning, like I'll admit, like, hey, I missed a call. I think I missed a call, or I'll ask for opinions on, did I miss this? Or, did you think I was in the wrong spot? Whatever it was. But I'm not going to go back and say, I blew that call in the second inning. Like, let's all go back and do it again. Like, we're not going to, we can't do that. Right. And I think I understand that, it's different with, Deca and that, there's money on the line. There are people videotaping this and things of that sort. But I think that there's still that expectation of like, hey, we're here to enforce the rule best we can. But I always kind of say, like, at least what I do is like, once the play's over, the play's over. I think in this scenario, it's like, once it's over with the judge saying, hey, you're good to go, it's over. You can't really, blame the athlete. And
or just not calling you back.
Yeah, exactly. And I am curious.
Which they didn't do. And
yeah.
If you watch the video, he did do this after he did 2, which first of all, I wouldn't do. He's starting number 3, so I would hold up you're on 3, maybe. I don't know. But either way, the fact that he missed it. So I'll tell you, Dave and I, we were talking, or we were texting back and forth, and at one point you said something that you were afraid of, and I said, that's not what I'm afraid of. And what I'm afraid of is what I thought almost happened, which is that they would overrule you. My fear was you would go down there. I had no idea this was going to happen in race 1, but that something would come up. You would hold a line, and they would say, yeah. You would hold the line, and they would say, yeah, but, and they would sort of like put us right back where we started, where this is Spartan's MO from day one, which is let's just make it up as we go. And that's what nobody wants. And again, we probably wouldn't be so ready to pull our hair out if we didn't have this previous decade of Spartan doing this, right? It's like, it's just so magnified. And it's very possible that there's a missed call in every race. It's really possible. We have a lot of new volunteers, like you said, but you've got to have somewhere where the line stands, the contract you're talking about, Kemp. And if the contract is, unless you're violent with somebody or throw equipment, we're not going to change something after it happens. We're just not, no matter what, no matter how bad the call is. Like I said, even if he snuck away, like if you missed it on the time, you missed it.
Yeah. And could you do me a favor? Actually, could you put up Brendan King's comment there? Question. Yeah.
Sure. Sorry.
And this was probably like the worst misrep you can do. It's the longest possible misrep that you could do.
Now, for the record, he would have still won the race, but he would not have qualified for Elite 15. That's sort of the math, how the math works out, right?
Yeah, if you look at the math, where he would have been, had he, let's say, done the 5th rep, he probably would have been in that 16, 17 position, which realistically, he would get the roll down.
Yeah.
But no, he would not be an automatic in the Elite 15. So the question is, so will you next time not say video will not be reviewed, or will that remain an expectation? For the next race, I will take the exact same stance I took for this one. There'd be no difference.
Yeah, and that's what I believe it should be.
And this is the other part. To the other part you said about being worried about will I make a call and they take away from it. All I can say is that it was made clear before the race, before I ever accepted the job, and before I got there, and was reiterated multiple times by Yancey that this is your deal. He wants me, just like I did, and like we did, the plan took in other people's voices, other opinions and stuff like that to listen, to go through it, Yancey's voice as well. But even Yancey, when he had his opinion, he's like, he's the call is yours. That's what I had to do. So there was never any doubt in my mind in the situation that whatever decision I made would be reversed or changed or anything like that. It was always, this is your call.
Was there anything else that you learned this weekend that either, I don't know, changed your mind about something, or something that else you thought you could bring to the table that, like, oh, they've missed this and maybe this could be improved, or anything like that for the whole weekend?
Well, I'm just going to look at my own performance. And for my own performance, obviously I was so focused on zones 1 and 10 that clearly I needed to pay a little more attention to some of the other ones. It is what it is, right? That's on me. Maybe time restraints, but I was also told that I would get as much time as I needed, and they didn't take that away. They didn't back down on that. Yancey gave me as much time as I wanted, as much time as I needed. And I guess on that spot, I did not clarify enough. So yeah, I got to spend a little more time with that. And just again, even making, like, the goal was to make the volunteer judges as confident as possible and as sure as possible. And that I did my best with that, but sometimes it's just not enough. And, but mistakes happen. It is what it is. It just was a glaring one. The other thing I want to say is about the judge that miscounted. Dude probably counted 1,000 reps on the day and missed one. That's like a 99.9% success rate. So if he ever hears this, dude, I'm not coming down on you. You did great. You're awesome. Anybody says shit to you, tell them to fuck off. By the way,
and it happens in every sport too. Like, honestly, it happens in every sport.
I mean, every sport. Like, look at
if I tell you that you need to do better, listen. No, that's glitching.
Sorry, Davis, you broke up there.
Oh, you're back.
Give it a try.
Am I glitching?
No,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're back.
Well, I know River waved, and then you guys all waved like 10 seconds later, so I thought that might be a problem. But I know that, you know, Dave, you've always said like, hey, put your money where your mouth is. Like, you guys, like, athletes should volunteer more. But for the elite waves, I feel like, again, and I think I've said this before, unlike Spartan, where you got to send people way out, since it's just Deca, right, we're all in one space. Aren't there some other age group athletes like warming up? They'd be like, hey, man, can we just borrow you? Like, while we like, and just put them, instead of it just being like somebody's kid, or, you know what I mean? Like, can we get some athletes out there to do it?
And this is one of the issues with the elite men running first thing in the morning, is that a lot of people haven't arrived yet. And not only do they have to arrive, but they have to arrive early enough to get them dialed in and ready to go. So that is a problem. And I do still feel the same way. If you want to complain about judging, where were you? Right. So that's why I say I hold nothing against this judge. I think he did a great job all day, and I would love to have him back again. I just, do you need to do like an athlete, the thing where they're instituting the athlete judging policy? I mean, great. I know that like that thing's not mandatory. Nobody's just DQing you if you don't do your time judging. It's more of a request, and it would be lovely if people can do it, but it is difficult. I think, you know, maybe in the future we'll find some other ways to make it easier for some people to get there to judge, and we'll work on that. But yeah, that it because
What
the men
about,
and the women.
what about a noon elite heat? What about a midday elite heat?
Like, that's something that I think is in discussions, and we'll talk about. Like, everything's on the table to be discussed.
Yeah, I think that's what I commented last few times ago. I was like, I wish, kind of one thing I think that has an advantage for Hyrox is like they have their pro heats later in the day or end of the day, and it's like by that point at least you can kind of see who's good and who's not good of your volunteers, and then put them in the right spot. Whereas for Dave, like if it's the first heat of the day, like you might think this guy's great, might think this girl's great, but then you don't know if they're actually like enforcing the standards as well as they could be, because the first time they're going to do it is with the pros. That's the only thing. It kind of almost gives like the volunteer a little bit of a warm up before they have to judge.
I like that suggestion, Matt. I like where you're coming from with that. Can you put up Alpha Granddad, aka Brian the Ginger's comment? That's a heck of a long
I'm not going to put up that comment because I think it's silly. I think it's a silly comment, but if you really want to, Dave, I'll do it.
Put it up, because I'm all about answering everybody's question. I got nowhere to hide, right?
I'm not about answering about answering some questions. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it says, I agree with Dave's decision, but is there a concern that this call will result in more athletes, especially in age, trying to get away with missed calls, considering there is less attention paid to age group? So that's actually part of the reason that I cannot overturn or give Jack a penalty, is because if I give him a penalty on video review, that's not fair to everybody else who doesn't have video review, who wasn't in the camera, i.e. the age groups. Maybe, like, I mean, you guys can tell me right now, everybody here can say, I watched the video. Jack did 4 laps back and forth. How many did Connor Bell do? Anybody?
5.
We assume so. We don't know. So to apply the video review to one and not the other because it's not accessible is not possible. That's it. So what he's saying right here is, will this maybe make some age groupers kind of try to sneak away with not enough reps? Well, I'm going to tell you this. If a judge comes to me and tells me athlete A did not do enough reps, well, I'm penalizing you because my judge came and told me that, you know, and I'm standing by my judge. And unless you can appeal that and show me some kind of evidence that you did enough, then that penalty is going to stick, and I'm behind the judge 100%. So yeah, I don't think this will encourage age groupers to try to jet early, because if the judge is there, then yeah, you're going to get nicked.
Well, and the age groupers, they still have a judge, so they still can't leave unless the judge says, okay, you're done, right? Yeah. So again, like, it just comes down to the judge is the boss in that zone, and just do what you're told. Yeah. And if they say exit the building, you're free to go.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, if you're
right, and I'm going to give you a big surprise. Oh, am I breaking up again?
You're just delayed.
Yeah, you can cut me off.
Matt was about to say something very intelligent.
I was going to say, my thought was, for someone who's, if we're worried about age groupers cheating and things of that sort, right? Like, there's two sides of it. One, You shouldn't be cheating anyway. Obviously, all that, we know the basics, right? People are going to try to ride that line. We always talk about riding the line, but the other side of it is, if you're that, if I think when you get to that top level, like if you're that much more competitive, you will rise to that top, or go test yourselves with those elites, and then you have more video on you, you have more eyes on you. Even if sometimes I say like we're not gating elite heats at Deca, right? Like you can go sign up for it, and you're right there with it, and you can have a more judged experience if that's what you want. Now, again, you're going to be competing against higher level athletes. That puts you in your own peril. So it's kind of the idea of like, maybe you want to be focused more on really competing with your age group. And it's just honestly, the thing that sucks about adult sports is that adults sometimes act like kids, and they just want to win no matter what the deal is. and you have to deal with that being your competitors and figuring out how you can still beat them. And the goal is obviously, like what Dave said, it all comes back to him, is like, if we're worried about that, then you should be out there judging too. And not saying that I don't know Mr. Ginger, I don't know his whole name, but maybe
he's a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not calling him out specifically, but we do hear those, you hear those concerns, and you see them on comments on Instagram or wherever else. And I think a lot of times it's, we want to see better judging, but yet we don't see a lot of people. We always say it's struggle to get people to volunteer. And that's where it all comes down to, right? If we had enough volunteers that everyone, if there's one volunteer per every 3 racers at a thing, then there's no concerns, right? Everyone's going to be. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and nobody's going to go in as a judge and be like, I'm going to try and get everybody away with bad reps. Like, nobody's going in there like, I'm going to let them leave at 4. Like, obviously, like, intention was not to, like, put Jack in that scenario. Like, again, this comes back to, it was an honest mistake. And I'm sure if Jack thought he was at 4 and knew he had 1 bore, he probably would have said, hey, I actually have 1 more. Like, I just think, again, like, nobody intended or intentionally, like, tried to make this happen. And I think sometimes we just have to remember everything comes down to intent.
And make no mistake, Jack didn't fail us. We failed Jack. Like, we let Jack down in that one. We cost Jack his non-asterisk win. Like, we cost him being able to just sit back and go, I won this, I'm awesome. And then instead he had to think about this. So we failed him. It's not the other way around. Can you put up Chris's first comment about, I know.
No,
awesome.
I will not.
Why? I want to talk. No. I'm here to answer questions, man.
Dave's going to run this show.
That's right, man. I'm answering questions. You're the producer.
Listen. We have to establish some boundaries here, okay? You have to trust my flow here, all right?
All right.
Or like, we could trade. Listen, I'm happy to trade like every other week, and then there's weeks that you run the show and I just sit here and answer questions or talk or whatever. But it's a lot. It's a lot to do. So I'm trying to keep the flow.
Matt
and other things.
flows like 10 seconds behind ours.
And by the way, I want to apologize. Brian, I want to apologize. I said your question was silly. It's not a silly question. I guess my thought was always people are going to cheat. People that cheat will continue to cheat. People take steroids in every level of every sports. Kids cheat. Adults cheat. Everybody cheats, right? And then there are people who will always be, no matter what, whether people are not watching for reps, right? So just because I think it's silly to say just because he got away with it, other people are going to try to do 4. So there, I said that. Okay, I think you're a good person though. To answer that question, Alpha Ginger. Now back to I had another point I was going to make about the event, and now I've forgotten because I got another message about something else. I think we've covered that. Okay. Anything else you want to say about your job first day out?
All right. One more thing about the questions. If you have a question that Matt refuses to put on, just message me on Instagram. I'll be glad to answer it. I got no problem with that. Okay,
listen, so you're lucky. Listen, here's the deal, Dave. If we were a more popular show, right? Have you ever watched those streamers? It's just this. So you never be able to answer questions. So just know that you don't have to. Like, you would understand it if we were busy. You'd be like, oh my God, how can I answer these questions? You're not required to.
I don't have to answer. I like to, but yeah. So you want to know about the rest of the experience? The rest of the experience, honestly, was awesome. It was great. People were very positive with me. Everybody seemed very happy to have me there. Like I said, the staff was freaking amazing because I was like a babe in the woods about a lot of things. Like, I mean, just trying to find the hotel and the venue. I mean, if it wasn't for, I think, I'd still be driving around. So there was a lot of things that people helped me with that I really, really appreciated. And then just the racers respected it. Even the ones who maybe ended up on the short side of some stuff were very polite and respectful and accepting. Yeah, it went really well. I don't think I could have expected more. And the venue kicked ass. Like the venue was,
and also, see, now you got me so self-conscious. Now you got me so self-conscious. Like, again, I want people to ask questions. This is a live program. We do want some questions. We just, I'm not required to answer every single one of them, and I can't have Dave interrupting me every time I'm not saying put up this question. So, I want to talk. Speaking of judging,
yes.
I want to go back to the parts about my Deca experience, which was that I saw some questionable judging, and it bugged me a little bit because it's real easy to fix. You know what I mean? At least in the elite race, it's like, oh my God. I watched a guy who I was like rooting for, and then I watched his last few burpees, and they were kind of like this. Like not head duck, like not even there, just clearly not doing it. And like I'm watching the judge, like no rep of it. Like just kind of makes you feel like, and again, like maybe this is qualifying for his age group, maybe not. I think he's older than me, maybe. But it's like, can we do a little? And then we saw Heather and I both, without calling folks out, we just saw a few other things that were like, well, I don't even think that's the rule. Like you put your hands on the box, you do step overs.
Okay, you're gonna have to repeat that one again.
It broke up there.
You think, can you put your hands on the box
when you do step overs?
I think, okay, I'm going to go on what I think he's asking. Can you put your hands on the box when you do step overs? And the answer is yes. You can. You can put your hands on the box when you do step overs. Okay. On the other side of the box, you have both feet on the other side, and you release your hands from the box.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now, if you're not gaining like
something else,
sort of advantage to say.
And the reason behind that is because the box is the most daunting thing for a lot of like people that are coming to do it, who maybe are new on their fitness journey and just, you know, getting started. And that box can be scary for them, especially some of them. If they do stand up, they can't keep that low center of gravity, and they stand way high, and then they're trying to get back down. So it's just by allowing them to do that, it doesn't give anybody any advantage for speed. Like Amber will tell you, who's an expert on speed on the box, that there's no way an advantage to putting your hands on it. So that's just something for people who need it to stabilize themselves, and then they have to release, which slows it down even more. And yeah, it's just to, again, make it more accessible for those who are a little nervous.
And I think that's fine for like the open waiver too, right? That's one of those things that's like we've talked about. If someone's struggling in the wall balls and it's going to take them 20 minutes, like instead of 30, you could like kind of push them along, but it doesn't matter. That's
no. See, the difference with this is anybody can use that technique. Anybody elite, you want to use an elite, go right ahead. I don't care. It's just of no advantage that way.
Right, but I'm saying, right. You hear what I'm saying. But there were a couple of other things, and now, of course, I've forgotten that it just showed that I thought like it would be clear to people that, and they've done a few events, and by the way, they were super welcoming. They did great, and you know, I was happy to do it. And I sent Heather to do it, and Heather was really glad that she went. So anyway, it was just a little disappointing.
So again, you're broken up as hell, but I'm going to go with some of the stuff that I think you're getting at. And there he goes. Okay, so cool. All right, now we're taking over. See, now everybody ask questions now.
Fire off your questions.
So
well, and I think like these are the weird, quirky things that you see at affiliate gyms, because you're seeing a broader range of abilities because the strong and the mile are a little bit more user friendly or beginner oriented. You know, you're limiting 5K of running. So you're going to see those more entry level athletes, and you're going to see more things like that you probably wouldn't see at a Deca Fit. So I think it is normal for if you've not been to a lot to be like, oh, you know, and like you kind of learn things on the fly. And like there's a lot of stuff that just kind of comes up, and affiliates do amazing jobs at just kind of, you know, pivoting or like applying rules as effectively as possible. But again, like it comes down to if somebody's going to be an hour plus in a strong, at that point, your goal is just let's get them through it, right? They're finishing the race with the best movement standards possible at that point. And if they need to put their hands on the box, that is loud, right? So
I think I like that point that they made. Like the one difference is that like the rule is still the same from A to Z, as opposed to like, whereas I think in some other areas, like with like I know you're a big proponent for a bench or whatever for this wall balls or whatever it might be.
Yeah, get the bucket reputation.
I actually had a great idea when I was doing my Hyrox strong thing this week. I was doing the sled pull, and everyone complains about stepping beyond the sled pull, the line, right? Which is supposed to be like a penalty.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if you just I had a wall behind me, and I like hit the wall, and I was like, oh, this would be a good idea. Like, why don't you just put like a 3-foot wall, like one of those plexiglass walls that like CrossFit has for their hand push-ups, whatever. You hit the wall, you can't go any further, and then you go up and get your rope. But I don't know. Maybe there'd be a lot of rope in the way. I don't know. But anyway. But I think I think that's one thing that I like, that I think Deca's done a little bit better on, is that the rules do apply the same from A to Z. Like there's no changes in weights, there's no changes in what the rule is. It's like you said, like an elite can put their hands on the box if they want, or they can just jump straight over. So I think that's one of the good things about like kind of where the rules are just more just consistent, whereas opposed to they're not as like interchangeable based on ability level.
Well, and it makes it easier too for affiliates to apply them because it's not changing. I mean, there are like a few minor differences in like the med ball sit-ups, like going to a target at Deca Fit, but affiliates aren't hosting that. So like that's okay. It's just as long as the athletes understand that that's going to be changed. And then the dead ball is going over the wall. But other than that, like the standards of the execution pretty much stand, which is a really smart thing to do because it's just standard across the board.
So for me, Hyrox's thing with the rope sled pull, I personally think that should be a seated sled pull, and then that would never be a problem.
Oh, interesting.
I would have loved to see that. And plus, I think it ends up changing the category of like work, like the different muscle groups it's working, right? It's no longer a lower body thing. It's an upper body thing, right? In the back. So I think that would have been better. And I do know I've heard Mintra on an interview talk about how originally the backwards walk was not the intention of that.
Yeah.
Like they thought it was going to be the hand over hand thing. So that just kind of happened. So I think so. And then going back to now, where I think, Matt, do you want to ask again what you were asking about form? Because you seem clear now.
Kick your kids off the video games and streaming services so you can get.
We answered 7 questions while you were gone.
Sure you did. Can I tell you what I'm really embarrassed about?
Sure.
I have a family of 5. Okay, we're always going to save money around here, right? We have a lot of devices, right? A lot of streaming services we're paying for, right? And so I was like, we pay too much for fucking Xfinity, right? So we have Xfinity cable and Wi-Fi, okay? And a couple months ago, I tried to fix it, and like what it does is like, okay, if you take off like the sports package, it drops the bill, but then it comes back because then you're paying for regional sports. It's a big fucking hustle. Okay. So I was like, wait a minute. What if we just don't have Xfinity at all for cable? We don't need it. We don't really watch cable. Okay. Our bill's $230 a month. That has been forever. Okay. So I'm like, let's just do Wi-Fi. What's Wi-Fi only? $50, right? Even for the not cheap one. The cheap one's like 25, the medium's 30. Like just Wi-Fi is just 50, right? So they're like, well, you have to turn your box in. And I'm like, the Wi-Fi box, the white Wi-Fi, like no, the black box. That box has been sitting on the thing for I think a year. So I've been paying thousands of dollars. I never even used it. Now I'm not a boomer, guys. I'm not a complete idiot. Anyway, I'm pretty embarrassed about that.
But
all that to say that I thought maybe that's why my Wi-Fi is crappy, because I just downgraded to the crappy Wi-Fi, and that could be why it's bouncing all over the place. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else call your cable operator. You don't need Xfinity. You don't need the cable, because I thought it was giving us the TV part, like, oh, we want to watch local TV, but that's actually through Samsung gives us that anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we only have Wi-Fi at our house. We haven't had cable.
That's all anybody should have. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I
Well, you're not
figured
an
it out
idiot.
years ago.
You're not an idiot for having cable. You're an idiot for paying for it and not using it.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I do miss it sometimes though, because there are certain things you can't get on like a streaming thing. So sometimes I do miss having cable. Not
It's
gonna lie.
because if you want to watch like any like live sports and stuff, you use a stream.
Yes.
You log in. Like I use my parents' login for like CBS to watch football.
Yeah.
So that's like I don't really do that often, but that's fine.
Exactly.
It sounds like an admission of guilt. Cable companies are watching. You're going down.
I know.
After intellectual property.
Your name's on here.
I hear you. I hear you guys started talking about Hyrox, and I think it's very exciting because we have a lot of tickets on sale right now. And I looked shortly before this call, and they are not sold out. So if you want to go to these events, let's hop over and look because I think it's interesting. The did you hear that? Did you guys just hear that?
A little buzz.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah, but I think it's gone now.
Oh, there it is.
Whose is that?
No.
It's not me.
Hold on. I'll mute.
Hello? I think it's Dave.
I better
Dave
quit.
It might have been you. Oh, do you hear it? It came back.
I don't hear it. So it's probably
Not
mine.
me.
I heard it when I was on mute, so I don't know.
We're hunting buzzers.
But speaking of Hyrox, I just got into Chicago, so I'll be there.
Nice. I thought Chicago was all sold out.
I got it from somebody selling one. I got it off the black market.
Because
The
I
dark
hooked you
web.
up.
Yeah,
Dark web Hyrox.
put me in the connect, and I just booked the room for DC.
Oh, Karen and I are raising doubles in DC.
Oh, DC. I just found a hotel that's not open yet, so it's a big gamble, but it's much cheaper than every other hotel around. So,
Oh, good to know. You'll have to send me that.
Keeping it an empty lot.
yeah, that's what honestly I Google Street Viewed it, and that's exactly what it is right now. It's just a big construction site. I was like, oh,
At least it'll be clean.
I was like,
If you want to race,
should be good.
if you want to race Hyrox women, it's Sunday only here for DC.
Oh, yeah, it's 2 days. It's a
Doubles
2-day,
men, doubles mixed women, and then you go back to Saturday and you get the men, doubles men, the men's relay, mixed relay, women's relay.
Oh.
But that's not the case in Vegas. Where's Vegas?
Vegas is February 1st or January 31st. Something like that.
Vegas.
You
I want to
okay,
go
hon?
to that one just because I want to go to Vegas.
Yeah, I kind of want to go to every single American one, to be honest. Where'd it go, guys?
February 1st. It's
So
chronological.
here's Vegas. Oh no, but where's day 2 on here?
I don't think they do it like that because it's what's it called? I think if you click on it, you'll see. Hit register now, and then you'll see.
So it's Sunday only, and it's all the categories. So it's all the categories again because they just doubled it because they didn't do it the first time. Correct?
Oh yes. But so what they did in Toronto is they doubled it up like that, and it's still one
Right.
podium. So they didn't say Vegas is 1 or 2 podiums.
It's definitely 2. I'm guessing it's the same as Toronto. We don't know yet. But then
Yeah.
Houston, I think it's the same thing as the other one where it's just, no, I think it's, hang on. Nope. Same thing with Houston. It's both everything, both days.
Interesting. I mean, I'm interested if they're going to do 2 podiums. Because I know Toronto, they said they're doing 1 podium, but they said they weren't going to do that going forward, right? Or did they say? Because it's a little weird if you get a podium for, I don't know, I feel like a 2-day event.
Well, it's like, what if somebody leaves?
Emily
after
said day 2 is a
Saturday?
wait list. For which one day 2 is a wait list? Nothing sold. The day 2s haven't sold out yet, I thought. Which day 2 is already sold out, Emily?
I believe Toronto still has space last time I checked.
Yeah, we still got space on the day 2, I believe.
Yeah, I will not be going to Houston, but I will definitely go to Vegas. Is not. You can buy. I just showed you could buy Vegas day 2. It's
And
on the
Vegas,
list.
if it did, it must have just opened up like yesterday or the day before, I think.
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah, Vegas just opened up because they had.
Right, that's what I just showed.
But it showed. I think it showed sold out because day 1 was sold out before. But now Vegas day 2 should be open.
Right, day 2. Right. Where did
Not
this go?
Vegas, so. I'll be in Toronto and Chicago. Looking forward.
I will be in Toronto. I'll be in Chicago. You'll be in Vegas too, Matt, won't you?
Not planning on it. Unless I gotta figure out my financial situation. I'm starting to spend too much money on these things, and I'm
It's because you're buying nice shirts to come on the show.
This is the only time I've worn this. I haven't worn a nice shirt in a while. Got me on a good day, Matt.
Do you guys want to hear an email I found that I sent to Mintra and Christian after my Chicago Hyrox?
The first one.
Yeah, it was really funny. I found this.
Oh
email.
yeah, for sure.
Because I found an old interview and I put that up, but I found this. It says, these are 2 improvements that I would suggest, so specifically 2 things that American participants love, which are definitely worth the investment.
Can we guess what they are first before we know what you said?
Yes. That these were not in Chicago 2020.
Escalators instead of stairs.
Wrong.
I think one of them was. I thought one of your complaints was about the water or the drink they had.
Yeah, the water definitely sucked. I did, but that was their sponsor, and that was their call.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, number 1, pictures, because there was no pictures.
Oh.
I know you posted some race photos, but having photographers at a few stations all day would be huge. People love pro photos of themselves sweating in action. You can easily put them at the stations. And since the workouts take everyone at least a couple of minutes, you'd be able to guarantee almost 100% photos of everyone. If you want to pay extra for them to match participants with timing chips, you can do that, or just post by time and have people find themselves. It also serves as free marketing as people share the shit out of them.
So you were to blame for the expensive cost of Hyrox pictures.
Well, I didn't realize that they already had them in Europe. Okay, here's the second one. You ready for the second one?
Okay.
Okay, see if you can guess what it is. What's something else that people love at a race?
Swag.
Oh, it's T-shirt. Yeah.
I wrote bling. People love that post-race bling. Doesn't have to be a medal. Could be something else creative, but something everyone receives. Top finishers could get different bling or the same as everyone. There was no patches. There was no anything after that first race in Chicago.
What year was that one?
This was January 2020.
So I did
January
the
2020.
2019 New York race, like December 2019, and they gave out finisher shirts. Like I got a shirt, which I
Yeah, T-shirt.
yeah, it was like a Puma, black Puma. I still have it. It didn't like it fits pretty well still. I think I haven't worn it in a while, but like I got a black
I think I got a shirt too, but I said bling. Okay,
Wow.
here's the other piece of feedback. Okay, here's the rest of the email. You'll appreciate this. The one other piece of feedback I would give is that the bucket should not be an option for the pro wave. Pros should be able to get to the depth needed if it takes them all day, or they can drop to open. Other than that, I loved everything. Parentheses minus the refix. Refix was that horrible water. So I told them to get rid of the buckets, Dave.
I'm either all or nothing, right? I don't care. I just want everybody to get the same. I want everybody to be treated the same. And it seems they've just constantly struggled to get that judging to depth right. And maybe they'll get it eventually. But I like what.
But I don't think any pros have used the bucket since that race with like face thinning. Like nobody has.
No, but we've still seen a lot of complaints about some of the pros' depths.
Well, I think it's because, tall people, like when they squat, it doesn't look like they're at depth, but they are. So I feel like a squat depth is like, it can be tricky to judge if you're not used to seeing and working with like all different body types doing squats on a regular basis. You know what I mean?
Like, for example, that girl that was doing the thrusters beside you in New York. I mean, we were just.
Okay, that was a push press. That was not even close to a squat. That was a plie, actually. Yeah, there's video of that one, but
for me, it was just something. I've always felt this way. That it's just something that literally cleans it up with one fell swoop,
yeah.
and there's no questions. And then it eliminates all that controversy. It is not a popular opinion. I accept that, but I'm standing by it.
We have a couple Hyrox events this weekend, don't we?
This weekend, I'm not sure.
I don't know this weekend.
Not this side of the ocean.
I have a Deca Fit or Deca Strong and Deca Mile this weekend that I have to go to. That's what
Me too.
They didn't have a Hyrox event in New York. I saw that you shared about that. I didn't.
Amber and Dave, where are you in any of the leaderboards?
For Deca?
Yeah. Where are you qualified for the World Championships?
Well, your list is more impressive than mine.
All the teams. I'm a teams girl.
You're qualified for all the teams.
Yeah.
Who's your partner?
Well, Karen and I'll race the Deca Fit together.
Okay.
And then Deca Mile, I'm not 100%. I have a few co-ed times in there in the top spots. Kevin's not happy about it because apparently I have more co-ed top spots than he does. So there's that. Shout out to Kevin. I had to bring that up. Him and I are going to race together this weekend in the Deca Mile. And then Kayla and I have a pretty solid qualifying spot for the mile together. And then for the strong, Kevin and I will race the strong together co-ed, and Chelsea and I in the female.
You have no individual times.
Nah. I mean, I'll come back to it. But right now I'm like, the teams is just, that's where I thrive. I know my lane. I'm staying in it for this year.
Dave, what about you?
Because if I race individual, that's like 12 races. Then I'm like useless on my team.
Dave, are you currently qualified for anything, and or are you going for something this weekend to get you qualified?
So I am currently qualified. So let's see, and most of mine are age, obviously. So I'm qualified for age group for the Deca Fit relay. We're sitting, I believe, 6th or 7th. Then I'm qualified for the Deca Mile relay, which again, I think we're sitting 6th or 7th. And then I'm qualified for the ruck, not age group because there's no age group ruck. So I qualified for ruck, which I think after last weekend, I'm going to end up 5th in that right now. And then
the ruck is so fun.
Like 7th again as well for age individual strong, but I'm not going to do the age strong. So,
someone reached out to me and said it's taking them 2 to 3 weeks to update the leaderboard, but we have to. Okay, so for the first question, be why would that be the case?
Couldn't tell you.
So because the long story short of it all is each event has their own like live leaderboard, but then from there, Nelson has to go in and like manually upload every event individually into the global leaderboard. So if you think about how many events there are any given weekend globally, that's just why it takes time. Like some events get done sooner than others, and
it still sounds like about an hour job. That sounds like an hour to me of like pressing upload.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. It's a lot, but I don't know.
Too long though. I mean, the Northeast results were up there a few days later. It wasn't too.
Oh, the Deca Fit ones, I feel like they go up pretty soon. But
no.
To work through all
I'm
the
saying that even if there was
1,000
events, even if there was 1,000 events in a weekend, right? They're all existing in the cloud. Now you've got to press accept or merge or whatever it is to get those thousands of events to the leaderboard. Like, this is not 1975.
Kinks. There's a lot of kinks too, because like, for example, say like Dave and I are registered to do a Deca Strong together, and say he's not racing, but I find another person who's now female. We can't change that on our end at the event. That has to be done via like Nelson on his end at the event to change it from a co-ed time to like a female.
I appreciate you like being a stand for these people, but you're not. That still doesn't affect the pressing the accept button. Like that's what it should be. If it's not that, then they need a new software host. But you understand, like results are the easiest thing to post. It's why I went fucking ballistic in Alula that they didn't have it handled. And these are people that were paying me good money. And I was like, why can't you figure this out? And they kept saying excuses. I go, it doesn't matter. Like the way timing works is it's binary. It exists or it doesn't. If it exists, you should be able to publish it, or you're bad at your job. So results should not take a week. Results should take, I'm going to give it 48 hours, right? They don't work they work at an event or whatever over the weekend. Come Monday, you wake up and you press accept. Then you go through and take out all the things you're talking about. When people have sent in, hey, Amber wasn't there. She raced with Bob instead of Mary. Like, yeah, fix all those things. There's no reason it should take 2 weeks. So, Matt Kemp, am I correct or incorrect?
I agree. I think the problem is that they're using, like, think about it, like everything's done manually when you're at a strong or a mile, right? Like it's written down on a little piece of paper. It's not like they're entering it into a computer. Like you don't have a timing chip that's automatically getting the time written.
But the person at the gym is uploading onto the computer because I saw my leaderboard in real time existing.
Yes.
So now you just got to get that to the big leaderboard.
But I think that the way I guess that's the point. Yeah, I agree. It should be. I think it could be faster too. But
it would be faster if like we as affiliates could make those adjustments on our end. So I could just be like, this is actually co-ed time, not a female time, or like whatever, or sometimes like a wife races in place of her husband, so now it's all of a sudden it's a female
Right, but
individual
you
instead
still
of
haven't
male.
changed
But
the fact that yours exist. They exist. They should now exist
Yeah.
somewhere else. It should not take 2 weeks.
Like
So
the gym had a button to say like this is how the person signed up, and then like flag all the ones that need to be flagged, and those don't upload right away. But I think they kind of want to save themselves from having like some results in and some results not in, because then that looks even weird. I think that looks worse in my opinion. If like I finished a race and I think I'm in third, and then I find out, oh, other results were flagged and then get put in a week later, I'm in fifth. So they have their wait to have it all complete before they upload it. But
all
it
right,
does
well,
make it stressful, like going into this weekend where it's like last chance calls, and it's like, okay, what other times have even happened in the last 2 weeks? Am I still in?
but again, that's even more reason why you should be on.
Know.
But that's why you should be on top of it, and that's what this person was complaining. They were like, "How am I going to know if they haven't updated the leaderboard?" Which there's no way should take 2 weeks, guys. I'm sorry, there's just no way you're able to convince me of that.
I wonder what the turnaround time, like Hyrox, you probably know. What's like, is there like a commitment time that the affiliates are given that they have to turn their times in by?
Yeah, you have to do it like that day.
Oh,
you got to enter them in. Like usually you're entering them as it's rolling. So like what we do is like, so the judge will give them like their final time on their like card, and I tell them like you need to go hand this in to the scorekeeper or you're not getting your shirt and your medal. And then the scorekeeper does not give them a shirt and medal until they have their scorecard so that we know it's getting entered in. But then it gets entered in immediately once it's handed to them, or within several minutes anyway.
Even if the gyms are lousy at it, even if the gyms did blow it and they took 2 extra days, then it would still get in like at latest the next time around. Anyway, I think it's a problem they need to. And again, if their software doesn't work that easily, then it should, because it's timing. It's ones and zeros. Anyway,
I've made software. It's not like they're hiring someone else for this thing.
I think I've made my point.
Spend all their money on me. I mean, they don't have any more left. If you're getting buying new software,
now TT Sports definitely gets her comment shown because she's in Europe and she's still awake. So thank you for listening. So if you want to get your comment shown, definitely do it from across the pond there. She was saying that they got bling. Yes, in general, first 2 seasons, no picks, but first 2 seasons in EU got a voucher with the amount would be a basic Hyrox Puma shirt for free. Okay, this makes no sense. I'm trying to read this and I can't.
They're saying the first 2 seasons, there were no pictures, but the first 2 seasons you got a voucher for the amount that would be about a Hyrox shirt, probably from merch or something like that, and then maybe get a black
you have to pay an extra £5 and you get a shirt.
So Chris is with me. Chris says North Texas Deca Mile 824. Results are weeks behind now, and those local results were readily, instantly on site. I reached out to the local organizer. He doesn't know why either. That's another way to get your comment read. Agree with me.
Or send money. You can always send money. You'll get your comment on if you send money.
Oh, yeah, dude, donate money right now. Like, you can do the thing, the 99-cent. We've only gotten one so far. We've only gotten one 99-cent thing. I forgot who that was. So why did I feel like I showed a map. Was there a map up 2 weeks early? I thought I put a map up that was like the craziest map ever.
Oh, that one. It wasn't that. Where was that for? Yeah, and it was like weird where they had like, I think I counted, there was like 8 turns or something in the course.
Is that the one at Perth?
No,
it was I think it was Poland. Wasn't it Poland or something?
But I just remember looking at it going, if we get fast times from here, then this course is short.
No,
because it had like a 90, then a 90, then a 180, then a 90, then a 90, then a 90, then another.
Had like a little boat to it, didn't it? Had like a little like U-turn.
Yeah, a little horseshoe in the middle of it. Yeah,
yeah, horseshoe. That's okay.
It's crazy. I don't know, but yeah, I'm sure there's like a pole or a wall there, and that's why they had to do it or something.
Yeah. Well, the first time around in New York, it was like an L-shaped lap. There were 3 of them.
Yeah.
I found the map, guys. I found the map.
Okay, let's see it.
It's going to take me 1 to 2 weeks to upload the map. Is that a problem? Is that too long?
Will your connection knock out? It looks like your connection. Like, I'm more worried about it slowing down your connection than anything else.
There it is. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Oh, look at that.
How many people are going to run into each other at that turn at the bottom?
Maybe hitting the apex on that one.
So how about this? Whatever this is, can you guys see my mouse?
Yeah.
Whatever this is, that's like a no for the event. You can't possibly make that part of your event. Like turns around here are one thing, but here you pick the wrong venue. What the fuck is this?
Well, what's clearly happening is the people are running so fast that they need to slow them down in the middle so they don't hit this corner on the end too quickly. So that's what's going on. That's like a race car chicane to slow the pace down.
I need to know what's in that spot that made them have to.
But the start line's actually not that far from it. You're just gonna have
fire hydrant,
a herd of sheep there.
Well, even the start line's got a big turn into it to get onto the track.
Yeah. That's an interesting.
But you're still going to be clustered by the time you get to that little U-turn thing. But it's like a U-turn in the same direction.
But it's in the middle of the course, and the only place you can cross apparently is the
crosswalk
too.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Oh, and there's a crosswalk right in front of it too. Oh, shit.
I'm gonna print this up, guys.
Maybe the crosswalk because they figured people would slow down right there.
Thank you for the love. Like I said, if you're this is Tanya, by the way. Tanya, are you coming over? She's qualified.
Yeah, right now, for fun fact of Deca, I'm like 23rd, but there's 8 people from Spain ahead of me, so I have a chance of being a top 15.
Seriously,
you might get in.
Dude, that's like us in the relay. There's like we're 7th, but there's
Matt, which category?
4 American teams and 4 Spanish teams ahead of us.
In the fit. That's the only thing. Oh, it's the only Deca I've done this year is Deca Fit. So I'm 23rd in age.
Come to Ocala. It's going to be a freaking party.
2 people beat me this week, or I think 3 people beat me this weekend, or 2 people beat me this weekend, but one of them was Kevin and Gregory. He was already qualified. So I'm probably in 24th, maybe 25th right now. But
Dave, I think you were telling us a little about the venue, and then I think that was when I was getting cut off.
Oh, yeah.
What can we look forward to? Was there a Dunkin' nearby? Was there a Starbucks? Tell us what do we got down there?
So the venue is absolutely gorgeous. The horse park is amazing. Like I went around and I've never went. There's more money in this place than I can possibly imagine. Like it's just beautiful. The hotel on site was gorgeous. There we saw there was a little Mexican restaurant on site, and there was a pub on site we went to, and it just And then in the venue itself, they had video screens at each end of the course showing the live stream as we ran.
That's so cool.
I mean, that was really cool. It was. I would say it is definitely the best Deca venue I've been to.
Nice.
And
I mean,
it's not. That's not saying that much, but still, it's nice to know that we'll have something cool.
But I mean, the video screens were cool. Video screens were pretty cool. That you could see at either end, and they're big at either end of the screen, at either end of the track. You can see what's going on through the live.
And it's not in like the dirt where the horses do their thing.
No. If anything, so when I first walked in, I thought that the floor looked really shiny, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be slippery." But no, it was not. It actually, and I didn't bring shoes for grip. I just brought comfortable shoes, and it was good grip. I don't think anyone was complaining about the grip on the floor. So. Yeah, it was a good venue. I was very impressed.
I have a random question. I guess maybe
avoid the Mexican during Worlds.
You get it at the last day. Get the Mexican food last day. I'm not a Mexican food connoisseur, but I was told that it was not bad.
Is the venue itself like the equestrian? So it's an equestrian center, which I was kind of trying to figure out like. Is it just like a conference hall room anyway? Like I'm assuming they have that on site. And that's where it is directly on site, or is it part of like a? It's
directly on site.
Okay, I was kind of looking at pictures online. I was like, I see a lot of like, I don't know. Just I couldn't picture it. I guess when I looked online for the World Equestrian Center, it
is not what I expected. Put it that way.
Yeah,
it was definitely different. I will. I'll see if I can. I'm going to send Matt a little video I took, just like a 9-second video of just what it looked like.
Okay, that's exciting. So, do we know who's racing in Perth this weekend? Has anybody checked out the what do you call it?
Start list.
Let's
see. I got the page up.
I have not. There we go. I just sent Matt a picture and a little video. And the video is not amazing.
Tanya says, if I stay in the Elite 15 after this weekend, Melbourne and Birmingham, we'll take my first ever travel to USA in December. Woohoo! Where did you send it, Dave?
Hybrid Fitness Media Instagram. Or possibly to someone else entirely.
Okay, well,
I'm not recognizing
it looks like the camera was moving a little bit.
Yeah, it was one of those motion dealies. I'm terrible with that. But that's the hotel, and that's the pool for the hotel that's on site.
Yeah, it does look nice. I like the screen. Yeah, I see the screen there. It looks good. Let's show everybody here.
Yeah, it looks so nice.
So, Dave, are you going to judge during the World Championships? And if so, when are you going to A, compete, or B, commentate? Or will you be doing all the above?
My services have been retained to be the head official for World Championships as well.
All right.
So that's good. I'm excited about that. Luckily, most of my races shouldn't interfere as I'm not elite. That kind of makes it a little easier. So I can still run my age group races. Commentary, I don't think will be in the works for me this time, as I just don't think I'll have time. Maybe I'll jump on a little bit here or there just for some fun if I have a couple moments, but I don't see me being a main portion of it, which is disappointing because I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with that. It's good stuff, but I think this is a higher priority for me.
And Matt, you said you won't come even if you qualify just because you get too much travel.
If I qualify for Deca Worlds, I think I'd try to make it work. I want to make it to a World Championship. I'm trying to go to Hyrox, and then I haven't. And I didn't honestly think I was going to be in the running for Deca, and then I was like, oh, my times came out pretty good. So check the leaderboard out. And maybe I'll wait for that email. Wait for that roll down email.
I really hope you get in because then we can hang out.
I think it'd be cool. I think you're going to make it, Matt.
Matt and I have traveled quite a bit together. We've roomed. We do well together, right?
Yeah, so far so good. You haven't made me want to hurt anybody. So that's good.
Right?
No, yeah, we've actually been worked out. I just booked another room for us in DC. If you're in, I don't know.
Let's go.
That's the cheap one that doesn't exist yet. So we'll see how it goes. We've also had some
wait, but the one you sent me today, I thought
I sent you the Chicago one today. I booked that, and then after I was done with that, I think he froze. So he's like, I
He's so good.
So I booked the one in Chicago. It was called the Ohio Motel, which was interesting.
Okay, I just froze. So
yeah.
you sent me a room from Chicago today, I thought.
Yeah, and then immediately after, I was like, oh, I have a tab open for DC, so let me see what's here. And then I found one that was really cheap, so I was like, let me just reserve it for now, and then I can always change it later. Okay. Reserve now, pay later. You know.
That's Expedia. That's the magic of Expedia, man. I do it all the time. Speaking of which, I booked a room. Big news. If you haven't been paying attention, I am headed across the pond. Speaking of across the pond, I'm leaving on Wednesday night and landing Thursday morning in the UK for the Dirty Dozen, the 12 labors of the Dirty Dozen. I'm extremely excited. I will attempt to not fucking fall over, guys. I'm doing a doubles, so it should be okay.
Will you, in fact, stand up all the way on your deadlifts?
I'm probably going to do. What do we have to? How many is it? Do you know how many it is? Is it 20? Because I think I'll do
60.
It's a lot, but it's very light.
It's a lot, yeah.
I love how you guys know more than me, and I'm the one who's going 60.
Well, is
I'm
anyone
pretty sure
really
it's
surprised?
60.
Yeah, I'm looking at your Instagram post right now. Yeah, 60 reps.
60. It's 60 of everything. But if you're doing it with a friend, you can split it.
240. Deadlift is 6. Maybe you're doing 20 and making your friend do deadlift 40.
Well, I'm thinking I was thinking I was going to do like, bang out a couple, then trade. You know what I mean? That's the way you do it, right?
Sounds like a pretty interesting workout.
I'm excited to hear about your journeys.
My journeys around the track.
Your labors.
My labors and your journeys. It's the most accessible. What did he say? Functional fitness in the world.
I don't mind the tag, the labors. I don't mind that. I'm okay with that one.
No, we're okay with the labors, but he said it's the most. He kept saying it's the most. It's the most. Anyway, I'm bringing it back for all of North America. I could be the first North American to do it, and but certainly.
Heavy,
how many pounds is it?
It's 32 kilograms, which one kettlebell, 32 kilograms.
Hey Siri, how many pounds is 32 kilograms?
It's like 70,
75,
70 pound deadlift.
Why do you not think that's a lot?
Because it's not.
You're going to be able to do that. Because like when I coach at F45, we have like that weight, and people come in, pick it up.
You'll be fine. 60 pounds over the shoulder. Now you just got to stand up. And it's not a ball; it's like a nice handle.
Oh, these are just the deadlifts.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking something else. Okay, we're fine. It's been a long day, guys.
Over shoulders. Don't do that.
I gotta say, somehow I think the burpees aren't as bad as the dead ball overs. Maybe it's just because I've done so many more burpees in my life, but man, those dead balls.
Like ram burpee?
Yeah.
No way.
I'm
I
telling
love
you,
burpees, and I have to disagree.
Yeah, I'm not
I was able to put. He
I'm
said when
going
we
back
got
to
to
this is
burpees.
a mental issue.
My judge was so great. My judge, when we got to the burpees, he was really smart. He's like, Matt, we're doing 4 sets of 5 burpees. That's all we're doing. Just we're gonna bang out 4 times. Genius. Super simple, I know, but I really needed to hear that at that moment. So the first 5 went pretty good. The second 5, I think, even went pretty good. And then when you're doing the third 5, you're thinking, okay, there's only another 5 after this. I don't know. Just those dead, like both are using your whole body, but I don't know. Something about picking up 60 pounds is just fucking hurts, dude.
Yeah,
I
but
think
the
it's
good
more
thing about burpees is you're done. That is the only good thing about burpees is when
Yeah.
you're done, you're done.
Right.
Maybe
But
that's why.
but you see what I'm saying? First of all, it weighs more. You're only using a 44 for the burpees, right?
Yeah.
For the men. And you're only, you just don't need as much to get it to stand up.
I don't know, because I'd say 44, like to get it all the way over, whereas like 60, if you can. The thing about the dead ball that I think sucks is like for me being tall, I think it's so low to get underneath.
Oh, well,
that
that's
thing.
why it sucks for you because you're a fucking giant.
But like then it's like more like doing like a more explosive movement where like I'm trying to throw it over my shoulder and then be like, all right, I'll go find it again and catch it and bring it up again. Whereas like the burpee, it's like you have to like get, I don't know, I just have to get fully extended above, and I don't know. I think the dead ball over hurts to pick it up, but like once I get it off the ground, I'm like, whatever, it's fine. It's just
You remember too, like the dead ball has no negative portion to it, right? Whereas your ram burpees, you got to bring that weight back down. The dead ball just drops it. You just let it go.
Yeah.
So there's more to it than that.
I
And
guess
there's
it's all
obviously
mental for me, mate. I guess
I
it's
know,
all
there's
mental for
a lot
me,
more
right?
movement in the burpee, right? Cardio wise too as well. Again, it all comes down to Matt, make these videos so we can see them and then we can help you.
Didn't you see my burpees? What did you think of my burpees that I sent you?
You sent me the burpees?
You put them
thought
on
so.
your story, but I don't remember. I can't
Oh,
remember.
I don't
now.
think I saw an Instagram story. I was busy.
Most of them was like it was you doing a station and laying down. You doing it so like I was the comic relief kind of distracting.
I love it.
What percentage of laying down was the race?
Yeah.
I know what you need. You need a Deca hammock.
One on wheels. So we can just whirl it around.
That's a bike.
See, like that pace you could have like you were. See, that's like the walking pace I think Dave was talking about.
Yeah.
You just got to keep your
My
hands
burpees,
on
though.
it. You can't.
You never saw this, Dave?
Yeah, that's not a burpee. Yeah,
I know. I'm just showing you my other stuff.
Yeah,
I look like an 86-year-old man. I couldn't believe how slow I was doing these. Even I was like, God, that guy looks old.
So I'm okay with you doing them that slow. You just don't stop.
But look at me. Look at me. Look at the way I walk in between them. I look like a 100-year-old man.
We need to send Matt some how-to videos. That's what we need to do.
I believe Kevin Gregory's got a few nice ones online.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on. I want to show my burpees. Hang on. Oh, Jesus. Somebody got
Where's
to
the
lead
nap?
it. What's that?
Do you have a video of you napping?
Yeah, he did have those. There it is.
Oh, we do.
Why are you so far away from everything there? Let nap closer.
All right, here we go. Here's some burpees.
Oh, those aren't bad.
Good form.
That was probably
Was that the end of the video?
Yeah, I was gonna say
no.
that-
I was just
Oh, it's the end.
I wasn't sure.
me breathing.
We went to
Seriously.
child's pose there.
Yeah.
Started doing some yoga.
Hang on.
Down dog.
Honestly, the key that I'd use for burpees is kick both legs back and walk them on
I
up.
think this is the last few because I'm mad. I'm like, all right, let's just get these fucking things done.
Look at you go.
Yeah,
You
there
had too
go.
much left in the tank.
I did not. I was just so ready to be done.
Is it just weird? You look like 6 feet closer to a wall than when you started.
I was just gonna
Yes.
say, they watching out for your head here. Like,
By the way, you could use a little more extension on the arms. Just saying.
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying.
all the way up.
The left elbow is a little.
Yeah, I'm not. This is
I
what
did
do,
notice it
man.
the other day too. I thought about that. The left elbow. I was like, but it looked like you were kind of locked out here, but then not all the way there. I was like,
Amber said you had some left in the tank. Clearly, I had some left in the tank at 47 minutes or whatever it took me. But no, Dave, I will. I'll do maybe tomorrow. I'll do some like just okay. Let me do one station, and you can look at my
One station a day. Perfect.
All right, everybody. Well, listen. Thanks for hopping on. What does this say? Who said anybody go to Ohio? This is why we don't share every comment. Who said Ohio?
So
no, that's
why
the
do you share the one you
motel
don't
name.
understand?
That's the motel we booked for Chicago, and apparently it has a lot of meth. Has 9.0 out of 10 on Expedia, so I don't know.
It wasn't in Ohio, though,
That's
was
the
it?
city,
Oh,
baby.
that's what the name of it is.
Oh, it's the Ohio Motel.
Yeah.
Oh, you went with motel. Ooh, that's scary.
That is rolling the dice. All right. So
Chicago-
is
the
this your
Bears
last
are having-
chance, Amber? Is this everybody's last chance? Is this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This weekend, last chance quals, Saturday, Sunday. After that, you're in the new season.
And where
Qualifying
so-
for
would this be, Amber?
2025.
So
Amber,
What's that?
where would this event be happening?
yeah, this is going to give you a chance to plug your event.
Oh, my event. Yeah. So we're hosting a Deca Strong and Deca Mile, also at the Rock at the Boys and Girls Club of Brantford, actually. So it'll be hosted by Pure Impact, but we're doing it at the Boys and Girls Club. It's just such an awesome setup because there's like an indoor track that goes like above the actual comp area. So it's
That's
awesome space for warm-ups. If you guys need like some good solid times and a tight course, come to Brantford, Ontario, Canada. Come north
I
of the
think-
border, everyone.
Matt, I think you should try Kemp. I think you should try to sneak in. There's got to be something in the city this weekend. You should try to get at least one more time.
I don't think I haven't done any Deca Strongs this year or miles, but I don't think it hasn't been much close. My one criticism, it hasn't been easy to find the close race.
Well, there's usually like this weekend, you'll see you should be able to find a lot because like it's last chance balls. Like I'm sure a lot of gyms are
Yeah.
happening.
I mean,
There's,
I
like,
had to go.
some of, like,
I had to go
50
40 miles
events
from my
last year this
house. I
weekend.
went all the way up to freaking Woodstock.
Yeah, listen, the closest one for me is like
It's not even a commute.
Ithaca, New York, which is like a 4-hour drive.
There you go.
Oh, you might as well just come to Brantford. Then it'll only be like 6.
Yeah,
The
come
big
up to
downside is
Brantford. Y'all
being
come
a
up
New
to
Yorker,
Brantford.
I don't have a car, so it makes it
You
even
can
tougher.
fly.
What are you, 15?
No, I got rid of my car because I just needed to cut. I had a car.
Use the city, man.
Yeah.
Dude, what about those gyms like Constantine's always poaching where they do all those Hyrox sims? I bet they do
Yeah.
Deca too, don't they?
No, none of them are Deca partners.
All right. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah.